President's Cup?
Yeah, it's one of the most historical classes in our country, and it's my first year being old enough to do all these Grand Prix. Last year I was actually leading rider going into it, and I wasn't old enough to do it, so I really wanted to come back this year and seal the deal. I'm thrilled. I brought out the red coat for it and everything.
If you guys can use a microphone, that'll be great. Sorry.
And so your thoughts going last, I mean, how did it happen that you went last, not just come last?
I'm not sure, actually, because I think a lot of the people, it might have been stacked, I'm not sure, because I think a lot of the people towards the end were in contention for leading rider. I don't know how they drew it, but I definitely felt lucky that I went last.
Yeah, and being last, what did that do for you?
I didn't actually watch the entire jump off, obviously, because I was warming up, but you know, it's always great to go last and know exactly what you have to beat.
A lot on. I should stop being shocked by how fast she can go, but did you think that you were going to be able to catch their time with her?
Well, I didn't actually get to see Paulo go, so...
But did you hear the time?
Yeah, Katie told me he was quite fast. He's a very fast little horse, and...
Where do you, I mean, it was 2 seconds, where do you think you maybe made it up?
I did 7 strides back on the third jump, and I think besides even the way she looks, she's just like Sapphire in a lot of ways, and I think the way I have to learn how to go fast with her is that way, doing so few strides around the turns and the jumps and keeping it slick. So I think that my turns were very good.
And World Cups on the radar?
Oh yeah, I had 59 points before this, and I'm told normally it takes about 65, so I should be safely in now, hopefully.
And this is kind of her first real indoor experience, right?
Yeah.
Doing the World Cup. Now,
She can do anything.
do you think she would be your main mount or her Micah?
I'd probably take Micah for the speed and her for the bigger jumping at the end, but I don't know. See when we get there.
What about you? If you had to do it all over again, do you think there's any way you could have beaten this little speedster?
I would try, of course. I was telling her, she just made us feel old. I would try to get my pride back. I saw the beginning of the class. I know that she was behind, that she would run in the limit. A couple more. We had like a mix between some riders as Margie that was with like still in a contusion. She's a little bit. Thing. We had Matt with a young horse that he would have to do something. I was just worried about her, but I had to play a little bit the risk because I was afraid to try and had a rail really early, and I also want definitely to be there at the final, so I have to chase my points one by one. So try to do a safe course, which doesn't mean that I would beat her. She put 2 seconds. It's in an indoor competition. It's a lot of a difference.
Matt, this is a pretty young horse, and this is a great result for this horse. Has anything changed now that you're with Northrun as far as the program?
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing a lot with equitation horses the last 8 weeks, really riding them at home and sort of learning the patterns and everything and the rhythm. And this horse, as you can see, he's not the most rideable horse, and he's a little bit exuberant over his jumps. And it's definitely helped with my lines and stuff, being patient, stuff like that.
Well, can you talk a little bit more about this horse? How long you've had him?
I got him last year in the middle of the summer as an 8-year-old, and he jumped the $1 Million Grand Prix last year. He was 6th in that, and then at that time I decided I wanted to aim him for London, so we did Wellington, and then went over to Europe for the summer. He got to go there, and then since that he did 3 shows where he was 2nd in every Grand Prix, and then he's had 7 weeks off now, so he's a bit fresh.
How did you feel about your round with him? You felt good?
Yeah, he felt fantastic. I mean, I choked going to the double. I should have done 7 and just got halfway there and changed my mind. But other than that, he was really on his job and really happy with him.
This is your first time at Washington?
No, I was here last year.
It's a little bit difficult, the situation here, isn't it, in terms of coping with the small warm-up and the stabling being the way it is?
Yeah, I mean, I actually like the show because everything's so close together, and if you can cope with the warm-up and stuff like that, I mean, it's such a fantastic place to be in the centre of the city, and the arena's great, the ground's great, the courses have been super all week, and it's a privilege to be here.
What about you, Tony, in terms of the challenge of Washington? Is there a particular challenge for you as the horse designer, would you say?
The confines of the ring are a challenge for me as well as it is for the riders. It's my job to try to make the courses comfortable enough that they can be built to the specifications of an international jumping competition, and doing that in a very narrow ring. It's basically a hockey ring or a basketball size arena isn't the easiest job, but having had some experience now through the years in the indoor rings, I'm developing, I think, a decent system so I can let the horses flow a bit. And I was, for instance, tonight it was very gratifying for me to see the horses jump so well and be able to go at the gallop and flow around in that small area and look like they were in a much larger space.
I can't even count. I think I was champion here in the small ponies when I was little, and I did the equitation final when I was winning like 5th, and junior jumpers for a bunch of years I won, and so it's great to go all the way to the President's Cup now. It's been here a long time. It's one of my favorite shows.
Why is that?
I don't know. It was just always a show that my family did well in. My mom did the amateur hunters, and I've just been coming here my whole life. I love it. I love being in the middle of the city. It's great fun, and I'm used to the schooling area now. I did it on Mardi Gras. Solana can do it too.
He is better on the outside for sure because he's too hot, and sometimes I need to get him relaxed. I use the legs and turns, and here I cannot do so much things because he gets stressed. I was telling Antonio is my lucky guy because after World Cup I won with him, I had the first day 6 rails down on the Thursday, and I was maybe thinking about quitting right like before. And then he won. I like his courses is more or less the school that we've been training with all the time. So here we get along because after 3-4 days and jumping at the same place, have to take them out in the morning. He doesn't see so many places to go, so he gets more close. It worked, but I always like him more in the outside arena that I can maybe use a little bit more bit in front and let him go.
World Cup finals as well.
Yeah, I have a little tough job here because I'm still deciding which kind of league I'm going to represent, and I would have to fly over to Brazil to get the points there. Here is much tougher because beside that you are with like 50 riders here, a lot of them are the best 50 in the world, and my position can be it have to be 7th or below. So, but I guess if we keep going on this run, that would be enough, and that would be a dream because at least on this kind of competition we don't depend on politics, federation, and we have a kind of problem in my federation about that.
Back in Lexington, we're so blessed to have our huge, beautiful farm and all the lanes. So for Solana, a big part of her life is fitness. So I'd say every other day I go out galloping on the lanes. And yeah, I need to prepare. I won't jump too much when I'm at home. I'll just do maybe a day jumping really small, a day flatting, a day jumping gymnastics to get them a little quicker. And then before I leave for the show, just one decent sized school. Adding and leaving out in one line. Just pretty simple. I mean, when you have a horse like her, she's a dream. She doesn't take too much to get to the ring. But she does get miserable if she's not jumping.
And you do a lot of non-stirrup work, too?
Yes. Katie says I like to flop off like a wet noodle occasionally. So it's a lot without stirrups.
And how's the movement to Kentucky?
It's amazing. I was gone. I was there for 2 weeks during the spring, during the Olympic trials, and I left the whole year. And when I came back, I kept hearing from people, "Oh my God, your new place is amazing!" And we changed a lot of the barns and the ring, and so I was like, no idea what it looks like. When I got back, I was like, wow, this is really nice. This is where I live, and it's been a dream. The horses love it. It's so nice. I mean, I'm barely home all year, so it's so nice to sleep in your own bed for the few days that you're there for the show.
Do you feel more like ambassadors when you come to shows like this where there's a lot of maybe non-horsey people?
Yeah, there's a great interaction with the audience. Everyone gets really into it. Barn Night is genius. It always gets a huge turnout. They do it at Spruce Meadows too. It's fantastic. And you know, there was quite literally a mile-long line of children asking for autographs after the Gambler's Choice. It's a great show, and the crowd gets really into it. They always get a great crowd. I think it's probably one of the biggest turnouts you'll see at a show jumping event in America.
I mean, this show is amazing. You know, you're so close to everything. You walk outside and all the restaurants are there and people on the street. And it's well publicised, so people are coming in that don't know anything about horses and learning about the sport. And they've got other things happening other than jumping to keep everyone entertained, which is something that's really good. And for the riders as well, just come and watch some of the events that happen here. It's nice to see something different again.
Yeah, I have the same opinion. For me, it's one of the best, if it's not the best show here in the United States. We have to always appreciate what the crew does. They work 24 hours, literally 24 hours. We show up here 3 o'clock in the morning, everybody's already dragging the arena, there's people stopping. We know that probably this horse show it costs much more than what it gets to be done, and we really appreciate that the effort that the organizers put to keep doing this tradition in the capital, inside of the city, which makes for us have like a display for what is our sport. I came walking from the hotel in this clothes. Everybody was stopping me and asking what was that. Like it's nice that some of them were turning around to see like how could someone ride a horse in like jackets and ties. It's very, very nice. I will hope that they never quit doing this thing, because it will be a very big lose for the sport here in the United States. Yes. But as he said, this is just amazing. You have the best restaurants, hotels. I mean, it makes everybody feel good. The crowd, the fooding, the design. And I was in the waiting list, lighting candles to them. Brazilian black magic. Yes, here. I hope next year they'll have to do it.